Welcome back to the Metaphysics Podcast. We're diving deep into manifestation today.
Oh, how to make those desires a reality.
Exactly.
Right.
Stick with us, though,
Okay.
to the very end.
Because we're going to uncover something.
We are.
It's really mind-bending about our true nature as eternal beings.
It'll really make you question everything
I think so.
about time and existence.
Yeah.
It's a big one.
So let's just start with something I think we've all experienced.
Okay.
You really want something.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a new job, a loving relationship,
Is-
winning the lottery even.
Of course.
But no matter how hard you try to stay positive, there's this doubt
Yeah.
that it'll never happen.
Well, what's fascinating about that
Yeah.
is that this doubt is a form of resistance. And according to Abraham-Hicks and the law of attraction,
Okay.
holding those contradictory thoughts
Yeah.
can actually prevent your desires from manifesting.
So it's like we're sabotaging ourselves almost. Exactly like that.
Yeah.
It's like trying to drive a car with one foot on the gas and one on the brake. You're sending those mixed signals to the universe.
So how do we stop hitting the brakes then
Yeah.
and actually start manifesting?
It all starts with understanding the power of focused thought.
Okay.
The more we focus on something,
Yeah.
the more energy we give it,
Uh.
the more likely it is to manifest.
It's like a snowball effect.
Yeah, think of it like a snowball rolling downhill. The
Yeah.
more it rolls,
Yeah.
the bigger and faster it gets.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need to really hone in on our desires and visualize them with as much detail as possible.
Yes.
But what about those times when we just can't shake off those negative thoughts?
Right.
You know, when we feel stuck.
Yeah. That's where practices like sleep and meditation can really come in.
Okay.
They give us a chance to kind of hit the reset button on our mental momentum.
Okay.
So when we sleep or meditate,
Yeah.
our minds quiet down, allowing us to break free from those persistent thought patterns.
Whether they're positive or negative.
Exactly.
And start fresh.
That's it.
So it's like cleaning the slate,
Yeah.
making space
Yes.
for those new intentions to take root.
Exactly.
Okay, I've heard this concept of a vortex
Right.
in relation to manifestation. What is that exactly?
The vortex is a very powerful concept.
Okay.
It's essentially a vibrational reality
Uh,
where the potential of all our desires already exists.
So it's already there.
It
Oh,
is. It's like a swirling energy field of pure possibility.
So if everything we desire is already there in this vortex,
Yeah.
how do we align with it
Good question.
and bring those desires into our reality?
The key is to raise our vibration to match the frequency of our desires.
Okay.
And a big part of that is shifting our focus
Okay.
away from what we don't want and towards what we do want.
So instead of saying, I don't want to be broke,
Right.
we should be saying, I want to be financially abundant. Okay.
Because the universe responds to the energy of our thoughts, not the
Yeah.
words themselves.
Okay.
So by focusing on what we don't want, we inadvertently give it more power.
It's like we're shining a spotlight on it.
Exactly like that. Like
Yeah.
that old saying, what you resist persists.
Right.
If you're constantly thinking about what you don't want, you're actually attracting more of it.
Into your life.
Exactly.
Wow, that's so interesting.
It is.
It's like we're accidentally manifesting the very things that we're trying to avoid.
Yeah, by giving them so much attention.
So how do we shift our focus away from the negative
Well,
towards the positive?
it's not about ignoring the negative or
Yeah.
pretending that it doesn't exist.
Okay.
It's about making a conscious choice to focus on things that bring us joy and move us closer to our desires.
Okay.
Like choosing to focus on the beautiful flowers in a garden
Okay.
instead of the woods.
That makes sense. But doesn't constantly focusing on what we want create a sort of war against the things that we don't want?
It's not about waging war.
Okay.
It's more about gently redirecting our attention.
Oh.
Like steering a ship towards a new course.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to force ourselves to completely stop thinking about something that we don't want,
Okay.
because trying to suppress those thoughts can actually make them stronger.
So it's more about gradually shifting our focus,
Exactly.
like slowly turning the wheel of the ship.
Yes, and it's important to remember that we're not alone in this.
Okay.
Within each of us, there's a source energy,
Mm-hmm.
a pure positive force
Yeah.
that's constantly guiding us towards well-being.
Okay.
And it knows our true desires even better than we do.
That's a comforting thought.
It is.
Yeah, it's like we have an internal compass
Uh-huh.
that's always pointing us in the right direction.
Exactly.
But if this source energy already knows what we want,
Right.
then why do we even have to go through all this effort?
That is a great question. I think we're here to experience the joy of creation
Okay.
by aligning our thoughts and beliefs with our desires.
Yeah.
We're actively participating in shaping our reality.
So we're co-creating
We are.
with the universe,
That's it.
not just passively waiting for things to happen.
Exactly. And according to Abraham-Hicks, the ultimate goal isn't achieving specific outcomes,
Okay.
but rather embracing the present moment
Okay.
as the only true reality.
It sounds like it's about finding that sweet spot between taking inspired action
Yes.
and surrendering to the flow of life.
Uh-huh.
Not getting too attached to specific outcomes.
Right.
But also not just sitting back and expecting things to magically fall into our laps.
You've got it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this so far? What resonates most with you?
Ah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's the idea that we have more control over our reality than we realize.
Uh-huh.
And that even when we feel stuck,
Yeah.
we have that power to shift our energy and start manifesting a life that is more aligned with our true desires.
What about you?
I think what's fascinating to me is the whole concept of the vortex.
Okay.
It's such a powerful reminder that everything we desire is already out there,
Yeah.
just waiting for us to align with it.
But it also raises some questions for me.
Like what?
Like if we can manifest anything we want
Mm-hmm.
just by thinking about it,
Right.
why do we still experience so much negativity
Right.
and suffering in the world?
That is a great question, and it seems like there's a disconnect somewhere.
Yeah.
There is, and it has to do with this concept of resistance.
Okay.
We'll have to dive into that more in the next
But
section.
I can't wait to explore that further.
I think it'll be good.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
And we are.
So stay tuned.
Yes. Welcome back.
All right, so before we left off, we were talking about this disconnect
Yeah.
between this idea that we can manifest anything
Huh.
and then this reality
Right.
that a lot of us still experience negativity
Yeah.
and struggle.
I think that disconnect often boils down to resistance.
Okay, so what is resistance exactly in this context?
Resistance is essentially any thought, belief, or action
Okay.
that is out of alignment with our true desires
Uh-huh.
and the energy of the vortex.
So it's like putting up a block
Yeah.
between ourselves
Yeah.
and what we want to manifest.
Exactly.
So those doubts and fears that we were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
those are forms of resistance.
Exactly. And it can also manifest as things like negative self-talk,
Uh-huh.
limiting beliefs about our worthiness, or even procrastination
Well, why?
and self-sabotaging behaviors.
So resistance can be pretty sneaky.
It can be.
How do we even identify it?
Well, awareness is key.
Okay.
You want to start paying attention to your thoughts and feelings.
Okay.
Notice any recurring negative patterns or beliefs that might be holding you back.
So if I catch myself thinking, I'm not good enough to get that promotion,
Yeah.
or I'll never find true love,
Those are classic examples.
those are red flags.
Yes, they are limiting beliefs that can create resistance.
So it's like telling the universe I don't deserve this.
Yes, and the universe says, okay, if you insist.
So how do we break free from these beliefs?
It starts with challenging those beliefs.
Okay.
Asking yourself, is this really true?
Okay.
What evidence do I have to support this?
Mm-hmm.
Often you'll find that those beliefs are based on past experiences
Uh-huh.
or societal conditioning,
Yeah.
not any real truth about who you are or what you're capable of.
So it's about questioning these ingrained narratives
Totally.
that we've been telling ourselves.
Yes, and it's also about aligning our actions with our desires,
Okay.
taking inspired action steps that move us closer to our goals.
So it's not enough to just visualize our dream life.
Right.
We have to actually get out there and do something about it.
Exactly. Action is a form of alignment.
Okay.
It shows the universe that you're serious.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like putting our energy where our mouth is.
That's it.
What if we're doing all the right things, you know? We're visualizing what's going to taking action,
Yes.
but we're still not seeing the results.
It's possible. Remember, manifestation is not always a linear process.
Okay.
There can be delays and detours
Mm.
and unexpected challenges along the way.
So it's like navigating a maze.
Yeah, you might hit some dead ends or take some wrong turns,
Okay.
but eventually you'll find your way through.
So it's not about getting discouraged when things don't go exactly as planned.
Right.
It's about trusting the process and knowing that the universe is working in its own time.
Exactly. And sometimes those detours lead us to something even better
Yeah.
than what we originally envisioned.
That's great.
It's about having faith that everything is unfolding as it should,
Even when we don't understand why.
even when we don't understand why.
This brings up something that we talked about earlier, this idea that we are eternal beings.
Yes.
How does that fit into all of this?
It's a powerful concept that can really shift our entire perspective on life.
Okay.
If we view ourselves as eternal beings, then this physical life becomes just one chapter in a much grander story.
So instead of getting caught up in the day-to-day,
Right?
we can see our challenges and our triumphs as part of a larger soul journey.
Precisely. And it also opens up the possibility of reincarnation.
Okay.
This idea that we may have lived many lives before this one and will continue to live many more.
That's a fascinating concept. It makes you wonder what lessons we might be carrying over.
It does.
From past lives.
It really does.
And how those experiences might be influencing our current reality.
Absolutely. And it makes you think about the purpose of this life.
Mm-hmm.
What are we here to learn?
Yeah.
And how can we make the most of this precious opportunity?
So each lifetime is a chance to evolve.
Exactly.
And contribute something unique to the universe.
What are your thoughts on reincarnation?
I find it intriguing.
Okay.
It feels intuitively right to me.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a big concept.
It is.
To wrap your head around.
But it's a concept that has been explored by various spiritual traditions for centuries.
Right.
And it's becoming increasingly relevant as more and more people are seeking deeper meaning and purpose in their lives.
It's almost like we're collectively waking up
I think you're right.
to a larger reality.
And this shift in consciousness is having a profound impact on how we view everything.
Yeah, from our relationships to our careers to our place in the universe.
Exactly.
Speaking of relationships, I'm curious how this idea of eternal beings and multiple lifetimes might influence the way we connect with others.
That's a great question, and it's something we'll explore further in the next segment.
Welcome back to the Metaphysics Podcast.
We're back and ready to dive into this fascinating intersection of eternal beings and our relationships.
Yeah, before the break, we were talking about how this concept of reincarnation could change the way we view and experience relationships.
It certainly adds a new dimension, doesn't it?
It does.
Yes. If we consider this idea that we've encountered certain souls across multiple lifetimes, it might explain those instant connections, those deep connections that we sometimes feel.
So it's not just random chance that we meet people and feel this bond.
Perhaps not. Some believe that these intense connections are actually signs of soul contracts.
Okay.
Agreements made on a soul level.
Wow.
To support each other's growth.
That's powerful.
It is.
It makes you look at your relationships with fresh eyes.
It does.
And wonder about that deeper purpose behind them.
Exactly. It also makes you think about the more challenging relationships in your life.
The ones that feel like constant tests.
Yes, maybe those difficult relationships are opportunities to work through karmic patterns, to learn forgiveness, and to ultimately heal old wounds that might stem from past life experiences.
So instead of being caught up in the blame and the resentment, we can see those challenges as opportunities for growth.
Precisely.
And understand.
It's a shift from seeing ourselves as victims to recognizing our role as co-creators in our relationships.
And this ties back into what we were discussing earlier about not being these isolated individuals.
Right.
But part of this larger interconnected web of beings.
Exactly. And if we are all connected,
yeah.
Imagine the ripple effects of choosing forgiveness and compassion, especially in those challenging relationships.
It's not just about individual healing then.
It's not. It's about contributing to a collective shift towards greater harmony.
That's beautiful.
It is.
It's like we're all holding pieces of a giant puzzle. And as we heal our own pieces, we help create this more beautiful picture for everyone.
I love that analogy. It reminds us that we're not alone on this journey.
Yeah.
We're all in this together, supporting each other's growth and evolution.
But if we are eternal beings existing beyond linear time, what does that mean for our perception of time?
Now, that's a mind-bending question.
It is.
If we exist outside of time as we know it, perhaps past, present, and future aren't as separate as we think they are.
So instead of a straight line, maybe time is more like a sphere where everything is happening simultaneously.
It's a possibility, and if that's the case, then it opens up some intriguing possibilities.
Like what?
Well, maybe practices like meditation and intuition aren't just about accessing our subconscious minds. But about tapping into this timeless realm, this field of infinite possibilities. Where past, present, and future all converge.
That's incredible. It's like we have access to this vast library of wisdom and knowledge that extends beyond the limits of our current understanding of time.
Exactly. And maybe that's why certain insights or creative breakthroughs seem to just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
As if downloaded from a higher source.
This has been such a thought-provoking conversation.
It has.
It's like we peeled back the layers of reality and glimpsed this much bigger picture.
We did.
Of who we are and what's possible.
It's been my pleasure.
And for all our listeners,
yes,
we encourage you to keep exploring these ideas.
Please do.
Question everything. Trust your intuition and embrace those infinite possibilities within you.
And remember, you are an eternal being, a spark of the divine.
Yes.
With the power to create a life of joy, abundance, and meaning.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on these concepts, so share your insights, your questions, your experiences in the comments below.
We would.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Metaphysics Podcast. Until next time, keep seeking, keep growing, and keep shining your light.
Goodbye, everyone.